Hello and welcome to the Big Decision 2024. I'm James Lewis, the head of news here at Raw 12:51am. I'm one of your co-hosts for this evening.
And I'm Naomi Richardson, one of the station managers here at Raw, and I'll be helping James to cover the big decision tonight. After a long week of campaigning, questions and debate, the votes have been counted, and over the next couple of hours we will be revealing the results of this year's spring election and who your next student officer team will be.
Indeed, this evening we are going to be announcing your part-time officers and your next full-time officers, as well as the delegates representing Warwick at the upcoming National Union of Students Conference. We also have some exclusive interviews with your current officer team, chats with this evening's winners, as well as a look back at the past week of campaigning here on campus. And all of this is going to culminate with the announcement of your next SU president at around 20 to 8.
We're coming to you live from the Warwick Students' Union on both YouTube and the Piazza Big Screen, so thank you for joining us from wherever you are. You can find result updates on the Raw socials, particularly on our Instagram, so keep an eye out on those on the night.
Yeah, a special shout out to all of you watching on the Piazza. The SU hosting that massive results party, complete with food, music and performances, and I've heard there's a great atmosphere out there as well, so if you're on campus, why not head down?
But for now, as we get started, we're getting the evening going by announcing the NUS delegates.
Each year, the National Union of Students hosts a conference where delegates from every affiliated union come to discuss and vote on policy, as well as electing new NUS officers. There are 8 places up for grabs this evening, and these delegates will head to Blackpool in mid-April alongside current SU President Anna Taylor.
Your 8 NUS conference delegates this year are Grace Lewis, Mads Wainman, Sophie Clark, Isra Rai,
James Martin, Raj Hacker, James Varney and Otto Aldridge.
Congratulations to all those elected, and we hope that you enjoy this year's conference. We'll shortly be moving on to announcing the newest part-time officers that will work at the SU, but for now, it's time for us to take a look at the role of the SU in your university experience.
Welcome to Warwick Students' Union, run by...
What do you think the big issues facing women on campuses today?
The lack of representation, not having someone who can do them.
Welcome back to the big decision here at Warwick SU.
But this time we are doing it from the comfort of our own home instead.
Good evening and welcome to Warwick Idol. Tonight, filling in the hole in your Wednesday evening.
My name is Thivyaa and I am the Taskmaster.
This is the emergency contributing the ultimate Saturday night live stream.
We have to decide on open station.
Big Nasty who's just come off the stage.
Phones now by Phil Jupitus.
Hello, Stuart Croft, Vice Chancellor, and as I said before, looking forward to your questions.
Hello and welcome back to Articulate. I am now joined by Wuds.
Welcome to Big Decision.
Next president of Warwick Students' Union is Shingai Zambira.
To Raw's broadcast in a
big bite of a lemon with a peel on.
Okay.
Who do you think you are?
Right over there, yes you will.
Like what you see? Don't forget to follow our socials to keep up with everything we do. We're really looking forward to meeting you.
This is your student radio station.
Like what you see?
Raw 12:51.
Okay, right.
This evening will all play their part in ensuring that your time here at Warwick goes smoothly.
So let's announce the first group of those representatives, starting with the part-time officers. Your part-time officers represent students within our liberation communities by raising awareness and running campaigns to lobby the SU and the university. They aim to make changes in the interests of marginalised students at Warwick, whilst also continuing with their degrees.
Your part-time officers also sit on the SU's Liberation and Diversity Committee and are full voting members of the Student Council, giving them considerable influence over the future of the SU, I should say.
Tonight we are announcing the results of 7 part-time officers. These are, you ready to count? The Disabled Students Officer, the Women's Officer, the Widening Participation Officer, the Environment and Ethics Officer, the LGBTQUA+ Officer, the Trans Student Officer, and the Ethnic Minorities Officer.
A lot of officers to get through, and the first part-time officer role to be announced this evening is the Disabled Students Officer. They represent all self-defining students on campus, raising awareness of issues faced by disabled students, particularly concerning accessibility in academic study and social events, and lobbying the university and the SU for change in this regard. They also plan events for Disability Awareness Week and run campaigns against ableism in all its forms.
Your disabled student officers for the forthcoming year are Mads and Nye.
Hi. I just want to say thank you so much for voting for us to be DSO. It's been a privilege to be DSO for this past year, and to do it now with Nye is incredible.
Yeah, thanks for electing us DSO. Really looking forward to a year of representing disabled students for Warwick.
Yes, thank you.
Congratulations to Mads and Nye. We'll be announcing some more winners shortly, but for now, let's take a look at what campaigning has been like this week on Warwick campus.
What do you think the big issues facing women on campus is today?
The lack of representation, not having someone who can do them.
Welcome back to the big decision here at Warwick SU.
But this time, we are doing it from the comfort of our own home instead.
Good evening and welcome to Warwick Idol. Tonight, filling in the hole in your Wednesday evening.
My name is Johan, I am the Taskmaster.
This is the emergency contributing the ultimate Saturday night live stream.
We had to decide to open the station.
Big Nasty has just come off the stage.
Phones now by Phil Jupitus.
As host, Stuart Croft, Vice Chancellor, and as I said before, looking forward to your questions.
Hello and welcome back to Articulate. I am now joined by Wuds.
Welcome to the big decision.
Next president of Warwick Students' Union is Shingai Zambira.
To Raw's broadcast in a
big bite of a lemon with a peel on.
Okay.
Who do you think you are?
right over them, yes you will.
This is your student radio station.
This is Raw 12:51 AM.
It is now time to announce this year's Women's Officer. They are responsible for representing all self-defining female students and for raising awareness of and addressing issues faced by female students in the SU and the university. They are also at the forefront of the SU's anti-sexism campaigning in all forms, as well as raising awareness for these efforts, most notably during International Women's Week. Happy International Women's Day, James. They also lobby for change on behalf of all self-defining female students at the university.
And your women's officer for the forthcoming year is Gusmira Kerr. Congratulations.
Hi everyone, thank you. I think it's great to have won on International Women's Day as well. I'll be quick. I just want to say thank you to everyone who voted for me, especially my campaign team and my campaign manager. I could not have done it without them. Thank you to all my friends and family for supporting me. I really hope that I can make sure that I will make sure that your vote counts and the vote that you did do is meaningful. Again, just thank you, and I'm really excited to be working with the SU for my term. Thank you.
Now, congratulations to our next women's officer. Now, we're really racing through our announcement of these part-time officer positions. at the moment. How have you found the evening so far, Naomi? How have you found campaigning so far this week?
It's been absolutely brilliant. It's been a stressful time for us here at Raw, but really, really rewarding. For a lot of us here, we are your student radio station, in case we haven't made it blatantly obvious. It is kind of the biggest time of the year for us. Lots of things going on, some of which you may hear about later on in the show. But yeah, it's been brilliant, and for us especially, we're final years, so this is a real kind of full circle for us, because we were doing this in our first year when we were very tiny and very scared of what was going on, and now look at us, here we are on the stage.
Yeah. And it's exciting to see the direction that the SU is going to go in next year with these next student officers.
Brilliant crop of candidates, I think.
Indeed. And next, we have the Widening Participation Officer. They represent all students relating to widening participation, also known as WP, including those from poorer socio-economic backgrounds. They also represent students from areas where there's low progression to higher education in their community, students who are the first in their family to attend university, are care leavers or young carers. As part of the role, the WP officer co-chairs the university's Widening Participation Student Advisory Group, and also becomes an exec member of the Widening Participation Students Association.
Your new Widening Participation officers for the forthcoming year are Matthew and Aidan.
Hello, my name is Matthew.
My name's Aidan.
Thank you so much for your support, and we really look forward to delivering on all our manifesto policies. Thank you.
Congratulations to our next Widening Participation officers here.
Short but sweet.
Indeed. Well, I mean, it's a really important role. It's something that I've been looking at as head of news over my time. Some of the different schemes that the university is running to do with widening participation. Speaking to former widening participation officers as well. Very, very exciting stuff going on at Warwick SU in that regard. Well, we've got a few more officers to announce coming up. In a moment, we are going to be talking to the next Environment and Ethics Officer, or hearing from the next Environment and Ethics Officer when they are announced. But Naomi, just before we get to that, what have you made of the campaign week so far? What have you made of that?
I think it's been absolutely brilliant. I think it's been one of the most active campaign weeks that we've seen, kind of during our time here at Warwick anyway. It's brilliant to see so many posters out and about. I was kind of out with the camera the other day trying to get some good shots of everything, which was really, really exciting. Lots and lots of candidates, people signing shirts, talking. So many beautiful flyers. I need to know how they know how to do the graphic design, because the flyers are always so neat, always so beautiful. So it's really exciting to see. What do you think?
Indeed. I mean, we're very lucky at Raw to have several people who are very good at graphic design. I don't think I am one of those at the moment. But one thing I've been trying to do a little bit of is some social media over the past week in campaigning. But some campaigners have done that as well. It is one of the things, throwing themselves really into the campaign. I know we saw it last year, but this year really does seem to be the TikTok election, I guess you could say.
No, I've seen some absolutely brilliant kind of use of a lot of current social media trends to then take them and put them into Warwick SU campaigning form, which to me is just so funny.
Very, very exciting. Now, Naomi, we've been out having a look and seeing what was going on campus over the past week. What do you think some of the main issues that were being brought up were?
Oh, that's a good question. I think we saw a lot of discussions around accommodation, as a lot of the incoming Warwick students will be choosing their accommodation for this year. Definitely conversations about the cost of living, and like general discussions, I think, about life on Warwick campus. What have you heard from our candidates?
I think I've been seeing a lot of the same. We're going to hear a little bit more about what the students of Warwick have been saying with a little video later on, so giving a little bit of a tease of what we're saying. But lots of big issues: sustainability, the cost of living. I think these are going to be some of the issues that the incoming Environment and Ethics Officer is going to bring to the role when they are elected.
Absolutely. I mean, we've been lucky to have pretty good weather for this campaigning week.
We have, which I think has made a lot of difference.
I don't think there's been much rain. I think there was one morning where it was very foggy, and it was kind of, there were the candidates emerging through the mist. It was almost ethereal.
Yes.
But it's been lovely to see them.
Indeed, indeed. Well, I think we're going to head on to discussing the Environment and Ethics Officer role in just one second. An important role. They'll be working with various different officers here in the Students' Union, and one that has been, we were hearing from the different candidates who were running in the question time events on Thursday last week.
You were covering the part-time
Yeah.
officer. How was the atmosphere there?
Yeah, it was good to be able to see the candidates on stage, being able to discuss their policies and really find out more before campaign week started. But let's get right on to discussing and welcoming the next Environment and Ethics Officer for Warwick's Students' Union.
All right, so we've got a little bit more of a better description than you and I can probably give. The Environment and Ethics Officer are responsible for promoting a more ethical and sustainable SU and university. They will do this by increasing student awareness of climate change issues, promoting net zero on campus, and feeding back to relevant SU committees, including the Student Council. Helping students to access the university's Environment and Sustainability Fund is also part of the role, as well as running their own campaigns related to environmental and ethical issues. So really, really exciting role, I think.
Really, really exciting role. And I can say that your next Environment and Ethics Officer is Raj Hacker.
Thank you. I really want to say thank you so much to all the people who voted for me. I really appreciate it, and it means the world that I got this position. I also want to say thanks to my incredible campaign team, Olivia Farley. I think she's maybe watching this right now. Thank you for being awesome. And then everyone else, Mia, Tom, people who've helped out with our stuff. I really hope that I can make some really fun and cool and good changes to this university. Thank you very much.
Congratulations to Raj for being elected there. Now, I think it's time that we take a moment to hear about some of the issues that Warwick students have felt particularly passionate about over the course of the election week. We've discussed some of those already, but I think it's time to hear a little bit more. Raw's own media and publicity manager, Amelia Coleman, went out onto campus to find out more.
What do you think the big issues facing women on campuses today?
The lack of representation, not having someone who will be there.
Welcome back to the big decision here at Warwick SU.
But this time we are doing it from the comfort of our own home instead.
Good evening and welcome to Warwick Idols. Tonight, filling in the hole in your Wednesday evening.
My name is Ngan. I am the Taskmaster.
This is the emergency the ultimate Saturday night live stream.
What do you think is the biggest issue faced by Warwick students?
I think one of the biggest things we see, especially for first years coming onto campus, is the cost of accommodation. Places that, like Bluebell or Vic, some of the larger accommodations are really expensive, and eating student loans means a lot of students are facing more debt than they necessarily want to.
I have some friends that the lecturers have missed classes, so they're paying their fees and they're not exactly cheap.
Honestly, I think it's the cost of living. I feel like it's gone up substantially in the last years. Like, I remember when I was a first year in Roots, so I'm a third year now, it was 108 for accommodation. Now it's 120 something.
The prices on campus, there should be more inclusive students.
I would say repression of Palestinian advocacy on campus. Definitely. I think the militarization of our campus and the university's refusal to listen to the students' voice.
A bit more events, maybe. Yeah, it will be more fun to be here, more events and enjoy.
Cost of everything. The cost of everything is sometimes hard to actually keep up with, like affording food. And then obviously you want to go out and stuff, but it's sometimes hard to get some money. And accommodation is expensive.
The next part-time officer role to announce is the LGBTQIA+ officer. They will be responsible for representing all self-defining LGBTQIA+ students by helping raise awareness for issues faced by this community and lobbying the SU and university for change to this effect. They will also be responsible for planning awareness events and campaigns, most notably during Pride Week at Warwick, which I am incredibly excited for. It's going to be in June. I went last year. Wholeheartedly recommend.
So, I think it's time to find out who the winner is. Your new LGBTQIA+ officers for the coming year are Summer and Amber. And making a speech on their behalf is their campaign manager.
Just want to say thank you to everyone for voting for Summer and Amber. We've had an absolutely great turnout.
And they're really, really looking forward to representing our community and doing whatever they can to make sure they're represented in the SU. Thank you.
Congratulations to Summer and Amber, and thank you very much to their campaign manager for those words as well. Now, Naomi, I think we should talk a little bit more about question time that happened
Yes, because
last
we
week.
briefly mentioned it earlier, but then we didn't go into much more detail. So, you're the head of news, James. What's question time?
So question time was an event where all of the candidates got together and they were asked questions by students and from us, the student media organisations on campus, so both RAW and the BOR. We were able to ask all of the candidates questions about what they were going to be bringing to the role, both the full-time officers, the part-time officers, as well as the NUS delegates as well. So 3 evenings of fun questions.
It was held over a period of 3 days. It was the NUS delegates on Wednesday, the PTOs on Thursday, and the FTOs on Friday, and all of those were streamed by us. Sounds like a self-promo now, doesn't it? You can find those on our Raw Visual YouTube channel if you want to go back and watch them. But the candidates have really been getting a grilling, haven't they? Because you've been conducting some interviews online as well, haven't you?
Yes, we have been. RAW and the BOR had some exclusive candidate interviews with some of the candidates who are running in these elections, which was very fun to do. It's very fun to be able to get lots of the team involved and hearing a little bit more from the candidates as well, some of those full-time officer candidates, and that was very, very exciting.
I mean, one of the brilliant things about question time is it gives you, as a student, the opportunity to submit your own questions to ask the candidates. So next year, if you see a candidate manifesto or you've got some questions about one of the officers who's running, you can submit a question in and it will be asked to them live on the stream. So don't make it too difficult, or do, depending on how much you enjoy that.
Yeah, so that is something to look forward to next year. Now, let's move on to announcing the next Trans Students Officer. They will represent all self-defining trans students here at the University of Warwick. They will ensure that the SU is addressing the needs of trans students and raising awareness of the issues that trans students face amongst the university community whilst lobbying for change. They will plan awareness events, including as part of Pride Week, and campaign against all forms of oppression that the LGBTQIA+ students face. We're also sitting on the SU's Liberation and Diversity Committee.
All right, shall we announce it? Your winning trans student officers are Dorian and Isra.
Now, unfortunately, they aren't here this evening, but congratulations to both
Very
of them
well done. I hope
as
wherever
well.
you are celebrating, you are relaxing, you are doing whatever floats your boat.
Okay, and we've got one more of these part-time officer roles to announce, haven't we?
We do indeed. So, what are we announcing next, James?
It's going to be our Ethnic Minorities Officer. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what the officer does?
Yeah, so this is actually our final PTO to announce. We're really getting through it. I hope you're enjoying the stream so far. Our final election to announce is the Ethnic Minorities Officer. They represent all self-defining ethnic minority students and are responsible for raising awareness of and addressing issues faced by ethnic minority students in the SU and university and lobbying for change to that effect. They are also at the forefront of the SU's anti-racism campaigning in all forms and work to raise awareness for these efforts.
Now, your next Ethnic Minorities Officer for the next academic year is going to be Sanjana Kao. Now, I believe the winner will be joining us in just a moment. So while we're waiting for that, Naomi, what have you made of what we've found so far this evening with our announcements of these part-time officers?
Well, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm one of those nerds who, I'm reading every manifesto, I'm checking everything, and I think the results so far are something really, really exciting. It's always so brilliant to kind of see the old officers go out, although obviously they still have quite a bit of time left and the new ones to come in. So I'm really excited to see that. What do you think?
Indeed, obviously we've got one more term left of the current part-time officers, and we'll have to see what different campaigns, what different things our incoming part-time officers do when it comes to be their turn next academic year. And obviously they do this alongside their studies. I know, as well.
I'd certainly be interested to know how they balance that, because it's quite the commitment there. Can you imagine doing your degree and then having something full on the other side of it? So massive props to them. I'm very impressed. But yeah, I'm really, really excited for them. And we've done some great stuff so far this stream, so I'm very excited.
Indeed, and I believe that we are now going to be able to hear from the winning ethnic minorities candidates.
So I'm just saying that I'm really grateful for everyone who chose me. I did not expect that I have to do a whole speech after accepting the role, so I am totally unprepared for this thing. But anyways, I'm just really grateful for everyone who chose me and didn't choose wrong. Really grateful for that. Essentially, all I want to say is that I will definitely try my hardest to achieve my manifesto of getting extra suffix certified for ethnic minority student. I think this is like, I mean, I can't promise to solve racism, sexism, and everything. I can't promise to make world peace, but I'll try to make at least this thing change. I try to make this thing happen. That's it. Thank you.
All right, congratulations to all of the newly elected part-time officers. We'll shortly be moving on to announcing the names of the full-time officers who will be leading your Students' Union next year. But for now, we want to take a moment to talk about Warwick's performance at this year's Varsity, which was held at the end of week 7. Warwick's astonishing performance allowed them to claim their 34th consecutive win. Just sink that in, 34 consecutive years. Older than, well, pretty much everyone in this room, I think. And we're speaking to Elijah Doueu, Raw's head of sport, to find out more.
Elijah, thank you very much for joining me over here on the sofa. As Naomi was saying there, that was quite a convincing win for Warwick in Varsity, wasn't it?
It was really, really lovely to cover. Of course, we were there in the sports centre set up, covering some of the sports in there, and of course we had some of the sports outside as well. And there were some very convincing scorelines, including the women's football that ended 11-1. So there were some really big scorelines. There was also a 20-5 scoreline in the men's futsal as well. But I think that my favourite games were the ones that were a little bit closer. So the women's futsal ended 9-7, and that was a really good game to see. We didn't get to cover that live on Raw, but of course we had people down there checking out what was going on. And of course, on the stream itself, we had the dodgeball in the morning as well. And that was the men's dodgeball, which ended in a draw, which was a very good competitive game. So yeah, no, really, really excellent action this year. And of course, very happy that Team Warwick got the win again for the 34th year in a row.
Indeed. It was quite a convincing result, as we have said, 32-4. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of those games that you've mentioned? Were there any particular ones that really stood out to you?
Yeah, I'd definitely say so. I think that the showcase game, the netball in the evening, was really, really good. It did end in a 53-23 win to Warwick, so pretty comprehensive. But it was a very good, interesting game to cover. I think it was a bit closer than probably the scoreline suggested, but Warwick were really, really good on the day. So that was a really, really fun one to cover. I also think that with the volleyball as well, the women's volleyball was really good. That was a straight 3-0 win to Warwick, but also fun to do a commentary with that. And we had Harrison on from the volleyball club doing commentary with us as well. And obviously there were some sports that were outside. So obviously we had the tennis, which was a whitewash win for Warwick, 10-0. But that was a lot of fun, and I know that the Raw people were very happy to be out there covering that and doing commentary on that sport as well.
Yeah, very, very exciting. Very exciting to be joined by some of the members of the clubs as well, to be able to give us that extra insight. What do you think that brought to the commentary?
It brings a lot. It brings that because they have that expertise, don't they? And they obviously also, it's that knowledge of the players, and because they're in the club, they know the club so well. They know the club culture. They're there at the different events or at trainings, and they just bring that expert knowledge really to help. It was a big help on the day. Having people there to commentate from the clubs. I think especially I think my favorite one, as I said, was probably commentating on the netball. I had 2 commentators there, 2 really, really lovely commentators, and they were able to give a really good insight into the club, into the teams, into some of the key players as well, to really help everybody watching at home, to be immersed into the action and into the coverage.
Yeah, a little bit of depth, I guess, to commentary as well. I know something that Naomi enjoyed doing last year was a little bit of the dodgeball and commentary as well, and was really supported by the members of the club that came to help us. And we had that the same this year as well. Another way that club members kind of really came into their own was through the crowds, because quite an impressive turnout. At least we saw in the Sports and Wellness Hub, didn't we?
Absolutely. It actually just got better and better throughout the day. So the crowds, they were good from the start. From the first event, as we said, we started with the men's dodgeball, which started at 10. But it got better and better throughout the day. Especially I have to say a massive congratulations to Coventry as well for the turnout that they had as well with the crowds. I think it definitely added to the immersion of the day. And I think that, generally the crowds were really, really good, added a lot to the day. Everybody was supporting their team. And I think even from the studio commentating, it definitely added a different dimension and a really nice add to the Varsity Day.
Yeah.
And I have to say, just a massive, again, thank you to, everyone who organised Varsity, of course. We've got the current VP for now, Emma Birch, was obviously amazing in organising that. And it was just a fantastic event. And I think that was encapsulated by, how much the crowds enjoyed the event.
Mm-hmm. And we'll be speaking to Emma a little bit later on before she announces the next sports officer. So do stay tuned for that one as well. Now, Elijah, you've been, over the past year, you've been building a lot of relationships with clubs. You've been going down to games, been getting involved. Has that been rewarding, seeing what sport is going on here at Warwick?
Massively so. I think there are some clubs that we have really good relationships with right now. I think especially I was talking about the women's football. So obviously at Royal we have, in the sports department, we have women's sports hour, the football show. And that's a really, really, really good addition this year. And that's obviously hosted by Harriet. And what happened after Varsity was she was able to get some members of the women's football team on to the show to talk about Varsity, which I think is fantastic, Also helping grow the women's game as well. Mm-hmm. I think is a really, really important thing. And I think that's something that I've tried to focus on in my time as head of sport. And I think, definitely, good relationships with the football teams. I think also, obviously with tennis, obviously me being part of the club helps, but I think that's been a really good thing as well. Building relationships there, they were very happy with us coming down, very accommodating for us. And I think, I think it makes things like Varsity a lot easier as well when you have those good relationships with the clubs. They really help you when it comes to the coverage. They're really accommodating for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I found as well when I was head of sport. Really sort of milking the connections with swimming and water polo. Shout out to anyone from swimming and water polo. If you're watching this evening, I know Ryan, on part of our tech team this evening, is also part of the club, so he's very happy with that shout out. But if there are anyone who's interested in getting involved with sports here at Warwick, or if there are any sports clubs watching and think, I want a bit of this, I want to get involved in sport at Raw 12:51 AM, where can they go? What can they do?
So there's a lot of ways. So with the sport itself, of course, so there's over 65 sports on and off campus here at Warwick. So there are so many sports you can get involved with. Of course, in my first year, I decided that I'd get involved with tennis, but there are so many sports you can get involved with in so many capacities. So talking a little bit about the roles of, in each club. Of course, there's the competitive side. There are some actually, there's some clubs that are performance clubs, of course. But also there were, different roles like, there's going from the team to, being like a social sec and organizing socials for a club. There's different roles like organizing, inter-club competitions. There's really something for everyone, I think, in most sports clubs. So I think joining a sports club, you join it, you love sport, but it's not just about that. It's also, if you have other interests that you want to get involved with, some clubs have like pubs and communications as an example. There's always a lot to get involved with outside of just the sports. And also what I would say as well, take advantage of, here at Warwick, of course, we have, rock-up sessions. So obviously, we know that, of course, this is something that the SU are working on, but obviously the prices of, joining clubs, it's not always easy for everybody, especially at this time. So if that's the case, then you can go to rock-up and play sessions, which are free, which are normally there's normally at least for each sport, like one every week. You can go along to them, try it out, see if you enjoy it. And if you do, of course, and if you want to join the club, then you can try. You can get some financial support in terms of, also if it's a bit too expensive. I know, again, DSU, that's something they've been working on. Emma's been working on trying to drive down those prices. So that's another something that you can get involved with. And of course at Raw, I mean, we're always welcoming people with open arms, very welcoming. Station and society. So there's a lot of ways you can get involved, of course, whether it's guesting on shows, we have, departmental show, Warwick Sports Show, which always goes on. That's always a staple. But obviously I've sort of started the Premier League show as well. That's something a bit more niche for football lovers. There's obviously the women's football show as well. But any sports really that you want to get involved with, of course, start getting involved. And of course, going on from term 3 this year and next year as well, the opportunity to apply to have your own show as well is something that is a big draw for people who want to get involved with Raw 1251.
Now, it would be amiss, as I've got you here on the sofa, we're both final years. What has sport at Warwick meant to you over the past time that you've been at the universities? What has Raw meant to you as well?
Wow, good questions. Sports meant a lot. Sports meant a lot to me in my entire life, to be honest. I've always been a bit of a sport fanatic. Whether it be, I grew up playing football all my life, and, coming to uni, there was no change in that. I mean, the things that I'm doing now are very sport heavy, and that's anything really. I love playing it. I love, commentating, doing journalistic work on it as well. Getting other people involved and sharing that love of sport has been honestly one of my favorite things about the uni experience, and Raw's meant a lot to me. I joined in my second year, and ever since I've been in love with it. It's been amazing. It's going to be very sad to obviously graduate and leave my role to someone else, but I know that whoever takes over is going to be very, very capable, and the sports department will be in very good stead.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Elijah, for joining me on the sofa. Just while I've got you as well, talking about SU elections here this week, have you seen much of the campaigning that's been going on campus?
I have. It's been really, really good. I was out earlier, and obviously the some of the candidates were, doing sort of last-minute campaigning, sort of telling people why they should vote before the 4 p.m. deadline, of course. And it's been really lovely to see. Student politics is fantastic, and it's been really amazing to cover it all here at Raw. We've had a lot of great content on it, including people going out doing interviews, and it's been really, really good to cover and to see. And I'm looking forward to seeing the announcement of the other results later on today.
Yeah, very, very exciting stuff. Elijah, thank you so much for joining me on the Big Decision results stream. Now, Naomi, back to you.
Thank you, James and Elijah. Remember to follow tonight's coverage of the Big Decision via all of our socials, particularly our Instagram. We'll be moving on to announcing the full-time officers shortly, but first, let's take a look back at the campaigning this week.
Today, Raw News is asking...
What do you think the big issues facing women on campuses today?
The lack of representation, not having someone who will be there.
Welcome back to the Big Decision here at Warwick SU.
But this time, we are doing it from the comfort of our own home instead.
Good evening and welcome to Warwick Idol. Tonight, filling in the hole in your Wednesday evening.
This is the emergency contributing the ultimate Saturday night live stream.
So, welcome back. Although, saying welcome back, where have we gone? We're going to be moving on to our full-time officers now. These officers will be working on your behalf to represent you throughout the next academic year, lobbying and campaigning to the university and more widely throughout the community to deliver you the best student experience possible. But we do have one role tonight which doesn't have a winner, as due to a lack of candidates, the position of postgrad officer will remain unfilled. By-elections will be in the summer, but for now, James is going to be having a chat with the current postgrad officer to find out more about the role.
Thank you very much, Naomi, and thank you very much, Vash, for joining me on the sofa here this evening. Now, you've been VP for postgraduate students over this past year. What have you been getting up to in the role?
Sure, so mainly my role is to represent postgraduate students at Warwick and try and get them to engage with their students' unions a little bit more. So I guess one of the main projects I've been doing is PG Connections, which aims to kind of build a community of postgraduates in the university. So I've also been working with the PG Society as well on some events. And the next event as part of the PG Connections project is happening the coming Monday evening in the graduates. We've got an arts and crafts event, which is free for all postgrads to attend. There'll be some pizza and snacks and drinks provided if anyone would like to come along.
Yeah, very, very exciting. I think everyone likes a bit of pizza and snacks. We've enjoyed some this evening as well before the show. So I think lots of people here in the Students' Union building have had some pizza this evening. Now, why do you think postgrad representation in the SU is so important?
Well, I think it's equally important as any representation because we are here to represent all of our students, whether they're undergraduate or postgraduate or doing a degree apprenticeship or, home students and international students. And a large proportion of our students are postgraduate, so I think that it is important to have a role to try and get them to engage with the Students' Union a little bit more.
Okay, very, very exciting stuff. And see, we are going to have a by-election for this role coming up very, very shortly. But what would you say to anyone who's considering running for the role?
I would say just go for it. It's quite enjoyable. You get to do some fun campaigns and work with some great students.
Yeah, all sounds like amazing stuff. Vash, thank you very much for joining me on the sofa. Back to you, Naomi.
Lovely. All right. Now it is time to announce the winning full-time officers. I hope you're enjoying the stream so far, wherever you're watching us from. If you're on the Piazza, be sure to tag Raw or Warwick Societies. We'd love to see those Instagram stories. We will repost them. First up, we'll be announcing the incoming Vice President for Welfare and Campaigns. Who better to talk to about the role than the current VP? Here's Anaya to tell us more.
Actually, joining me on the sofa right now. Anaya, thank you very, very much for joining me. How have you found the role so far this year?
Honestly, it's been pretty good. It's been incredibly stressful, but really rewarding as well. I've gotten so much more sort of time and so many more resources to do things I love and like the campaigns. So I think you'd remember Naomi, the women's officer before me, she relaunched Anti-Beard Poverty. I was one of her volunteers, and I thought, oh, I must run for women's and do this campaign. And I did, and I expanded it. And with VP Welfare and Campaigns, I've been able to do so much, like, Free Breakfast Club and like lead on the cost of living. And it's just been incredibly fulfilling.
All very, very good stuff. Now, what's it been like working with the other full-time officers in the role? Because obviously, to be able to get lots of these campaigns off the ground, you're going to be working with staff at the SU, and also the other full-time officers and part-time officers, as you've mentioned as well. What's that been like?
It's been fun, I think. We have a really good team this year, I think. We speak to each other a lot. Most of us are friends outside as well. And it's been really fun, especially with Emma and I have collaborated on a lot of things like the Women in Non-Binary Self-Defense classes. And just, it's really nice to know how people work within their separate little spheres and how we can sort of collaborate across them.
Yeah, so lots of collaboration. Sounds very, very exciting. Yeah. Now, if you could give one piece of advice to the next Welfare and Campaigns officer, what would it be?
Have a good work-life balance. I think everyone in the SU knows that it can be overwhelming because you feel responsible for the welfare of like 28,000 students, and you're like, oh God, I have to do everything, and I need to be there around the clock, and you really don't. But focus on a few things that are key and special to you, and if you see them through, you'll feel incredibly proud of yourself.
Okay, all good stuff. Now, I think it's time for us to find out who the next VP for Welfare and Campaigns will be at Warwick SU. So, Anaya, please do head up to the podium and join Naomi. It actually tells us a little bit more about the role.
Lovely. So, as Anaya has mentioned, the VP for Welfare and Campaigns will be leading on policy and campaigns to improve student welfare at Warwick, covering issues including mental health, sexual health and accommodation. They will work with the SU and the university's welfare services to ensure equal opportunities for all students and run and assist student campaigns, especially on liberation issues. So, do you want to go ahead and use the card and announce?
Sure, okay. I wonder who it's going to be. But right, oh my God, that was the opposite way. The new VP Welfare and Campaigns for 24-25 is Naomi Carter. Congratulations.
Thank you. Am I meant to make a speech? Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you very much to everyone who voted for me. It's quite an honour to be elected to represent the students and to be able to lead on important issues like sexual health, sexual violence on campus, drinking culture, and the cost of living crisis. I want to thank my campaign team, my best friend Zoe, my family, my friends, and yeah, I'm very excited to get started. Thank
you. All right, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm excited. It's been an interesting night, there's been some nerves and, lots of stuff going on.
I've got to say, it's great to see another Naomi on the SU
I
team.
was getting very confused backstage. I was like, why are there so many Naomis?
So many Naomis going on in the SU at the moment. So how have you found the campaigning week as a whole?
It's been really interesting, actually, because I campaigned for a part-time role when I was in my first year, but it was all online because of COVID, and then I wasn't here last year because I was on a year abroad. So I've never really seen the campus be like so posted and with so many people going around.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been quite exciting.
Really exciting. Tell me more about campaigning online in your first year.
Yeah, we did a lot of great Canva graphics. There was a lot of time spent on Canva. Yeah, that was kind of
it was an interesting way of networking. So there was a lot more reaching out on group chats and messaging, and kind of it was a bit more of a shot in the dark because you didn't have any feedback from anyone about like whether they'd voted for you or whether they'd seen you around. We were just kind of hoping for the best.
I'm assuming you had to rely a lot more on kind of social media, Instagram.
Yeah,
was TikTok?
TikTok wasn't even a thing. We did no reels. We didn't even know that was like an effective way of campaigning. But it was me and a friend campaigning together. So we had some cute graphics, and we just, you know, were hoping that that would work.
How have you found the social media presence this year?
I enjoyed it. We decided that wasn't necessarily going to be such a big part of the campaign. I did some posts each day with like my main priorities.
Lovely.
Still made sure they looked cute, but we didn't go so hard with that.
So what's been your kind of main style of campaigning? Have you just been trying to get out there, or?
Yeah, I think reaching out through like friends and family, making sure that all of my friends are voting, like getting their friends to vote, and like we're spreading the word.
The power of mutuals.
Yeah, had some cute little business cards going on.
You've had business cards?
Yeah.
That is amazing. I need to see them.
Yeah, they're very cute. Got some leftovers, so.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, you've got to show me. How have you found meeting so many different people across the university?
It's been good. It's been interesting actually because there's a bit of an SU bubble where people know what's happening.
Completely.
So then you talk to some students, maybe first years don't know what the SU is, or people who just like, you know, don't really know how it affects them. So it's interesting, like finding out how people perceive the SU.
Have people been generally happy to chat to you, or are they kind of headphones on, walking past quickly?
Some and some.
A little bit 50-50,
Yeah.
a little bit 50-50. So you mentioned a few different things on your manifesto. What are you most excited to get stuck into when you get into the role?
I think I'm just like excited to have a look at what's out there and like see where like I'm overlapping with other full-time officers where we can collaborate, how I can like keep an eye's good work going and maybe extend it if we have like, you know, time and capacity. So it's kind of like there's a lot on the manifesto, like there's a lot of things that need to be addressed. So like I'm just excited to like map it all out and see like where we can make a difference.
Are there any kind of new projects that you're thinking about working on?
I think I'm more interested in like talking to students and finding out like what it is that their priorities are, like so I can have my own ideas, right, but I don't want it to just be me led, so I want to know what people want to happen.
That's brilliant. First. And how are you going to plan on getting in touch with students across campus? So I mean, it's a pretty big place.
It is. I think the LibSocs are a very important place.
Yes.
The Student Staff Solidarity Network has got a lot of good work going on, especially with demilitarisation and with like sustainable, affordable food. So I think there's definitely some networks out there to tap into. And also seeing if I can maybe just like do some surveys or something, get some opinions.
And how do you think this role will differ from your previous work in the SU? Obviously, you'll be doing this full time now.
Yeah, I think it's having the capacity to do it full time. It's really challenging to do a part-time role with your degree. So I mainly focused just on like the period poverty campaign, which was really fulfilling. It was really good to do. But I think being able to have that across lots of different projects and work with people like more intensely rather than kind of just running around when I have time.
Yes, completely. And you'll probably have more set hours, right? Show that you'll be coming in every day. So what inspired you to stand for this role?
I think knowing that like you can make a difference when you like set your mind to it, because women's officer, like it was a bit challenging, but then when we decided we'd focus on period poverty and we could start the End Period Poverty campaign, like be putting products around, hear people's feedback that they were using the products, they really made a difference. I think that made me realise like, I really enjoy leading campaigns. I really like talking to students about what affects them and like feeling like, you know, and I just managed to start the Free Breakfast Club this year. You know, you could do a lot with it.
Excellent.
So I think that's quite exciting.
Lovely. And how will you bring your previous work as women's officer into the role?
I think I know a bit about how like the structures work. I know a few of the faces, so that means that, you know, I can hopefully like get integrated a bit more quickly and understand how things kind of work, like which different committees I'll be sitting on and stuff like that.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, I'm sure you're eager to go off and celebrate.
Yes.
So congratulations again. My final question, what will you be doing to relax this weekend? Have you got some self-care planned?
Oof. I'm actually going to a Palestine demo tomorrow in London, so that might be quite intense. Might need a bit of relaxation after that. But then I'm going to be having a little birthday dinner on Sunday.
Oh, is it your birthday?
It is next week, so I'm anticipating.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. And yeah, I'll be probably dancing a bit of salsa this evening.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Naomi. It's been great to see you, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
Now, congratulations once again to Naomi. Our next position to announce this evening is the Vice President for Democracy and Development. Now, it's an important position in the SU for weeks like this, with elections happening on campus, and we've seen a great turnout this week, over 5,500 voters taking part in these elections. Now, Naomi is now joined on the sofa by the current VP, Sophie Clark.
Hello, how are you doing today?
Yeah, good.
You doing pretty good, In your own words, tell us a little bit more about this role.
So for the last few years, it's been quite a contested role,
Mm.
where various different political allegiances have tried to sort of have the position, largely because it focuses on the university's environmental policy, their development, which means their actual buildings that they can do in the future, which determines the future of how the universities want to look, its position in relationship to the local economy and to climate change, and therefore like Britain's engagement in global imperialist projects. So it's quite pivotal in that sense, in that you sit on university council, and it has quite a bit of sway.
Lovely. How do you think the elections have gone this week? Obviously, that's your jurisdiction.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the highest votes we've had for a while. Like 5.5k votes, like almost. I don't know, I can't remember numbers, but like 20% of the campus. So that's pretty good. I mean, for this position, there's one candidate, so here we are. But
So, do you think it's gone as you'd hoped, or?
yeah.
That's really exciting. Obviously, you've been here for 2 terms so far. You've got 1 left. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about what you've been working on over the past couple of terms?
So what I've been working on is I've been largely focusing on 3 areas, apart from the kind of overturning work that we have to do. So one is food growing initiatives on campus, so trying to encourage the university to do more agriculture, to localise our food networks, working on demonetisation, so trying to get the university to cut its arms contracts. And then I've been focusing on trying to do a liberation conference, which is bringing together different academic and left groups around the country to meet and discuss and talk about what we can do moving forward and how we can build a better future.
Lovely. Would that be something that students can get involved in, or largely university staff?
Oh, absolutely. It's a student-run and student-led project, trying to bring people's understanding that they could be part of changing the world and take things into their own hands. So
How can students get in touch with you if they want to work with you on these projects?
I've got an email, so yeah, sophia.clark@warwicksu.com. But otherwise, I'm usually in that office. You can come talk to me. If anyone wants to get involved in anything, I'm more than happy to have a chat. And
Lovely. So you've got 1 more term to go. Any major goals? Anything you'd like to achieve?
I think something substantive on the demonetisation work. But otherwise, just trying to see if we can get someone with the food growing more concretely. We've managed to get a new allotment space, which I'm happy with.
That's really exciting. Whereabouts on campus?
Westwood.
Oh, lovely. Lots of space around there for that kind of thing. So my final question to you is, have you got any advice for the next DDO?
For the next DDO, I think try and learn what the university is doing in a global context and why it's doing it, how its forms of education interacts with both government and with private companies, and what that means for both our local industrial plan moving forwards as we try to adjust and move into a green capitalist future, and also how that engages with sort of global wars that we're looking at, and really try and be critical with anything that people in university management tell you about what they're doing, why they're doing it, and hold it true in yourself that there is a loving and caring future that can be built.
Excellent. Thank you for that advice, Sophie. All right, now it's time to find out who Warwick SU's next VP for Democracy and Development will be. So, Sophie, do you want to head up to the podium and join James?
So, as we've been discussing, the Democracy and Development Officer will be involved and responsible for the function of the SU's democracy by helping to initiate and ensure compliance with SU's democratic processes and policies. Amongst their development responsibilities, they'll oversee the running of the SU's commercial operations, development issues including housing and transport, and work on sustainability projects within the SU. So Sophie, do you want to come and join me and tell us who the next DDO is going to be? The name is right there for you.
So I've already seen all of the results, so I saw this be written. But yes, the next winner for Democracy and Development at Warwick SU is Sasha King-Smith.
Hi guys, I want to say thank you to everyone that voted for me, to my campaigns team, and I just want to say I'm so excited to be working as the Democracy and Development Officer next year and working with Student Voice.
Congratulations. How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to get going. And it's kind of a shame that I've got to wait until August to get
I
started.
know you've got a little while to wait. Yeah.
Yeah, a
What
little
degree
wait.
do you do?
I'm studying politics currently.
Oh,
so
wow.
politics, democracy,
Suits it well then. So have you got a busy term 3 lined up for you ahead?
Yeah, final year, so got to get my dissertation in, finish exams,
Yes.
but then ready to go.
Are you feeling ready, or are you feeling like Easter's going to be a very busy time for you?
Easter's going to be a very busy time for me.
You and me both. So how have you been feeling over the past campaign week? Nervous, excited? What have you been up to?
I think there's an element of campaigning that's always slightly nerve-wracking. It's been quite a weird one with it being an uncontested role. And I think that's also been slightly bittersweet because obviously whilst that means it's a slightly easier job for me, running for the democracy and development position, being part of the democracy, you want it to be a contested role.
Precisely.
Yeah,
So
bittersweet.
So what have you been up to? Have you been on social media, or have you been more kind of out on the campus?
More out on the campus, I think. Speaking to people more directly, I find it a more effective way of communicating.
So obviously you'll be the one helping to run the elections next year. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, definitely. So both with elections and all student votes, I'm so excited to get working with the Student Voice team and make sure that it's something that all Warwick students are aware that's happening.
As well as the Student Voice team, do you think you'll be working with the other full-time officers as well?
Oh, definitely. I mean, if you think about why people vote, what impassions them, there's welfare elements to that. There's all sorts, working with everyone to make sure that people feel like there's a community that they want to be invested in and vote for.
Excellent. Which point on your manifesto are you most excited to work towards?
That is
a big question.
That is a big question.
Do you want to give me your top 3?
Yeah, let's go. So it's an election year, general election year.
Yes.
So I think there's a big part of uplifting student national voices. I'm so excited to kind of get into all student votes, and part of what I want to do within all student votes is run motion writing sessions, because I think the whole motion writing process to get your cause voted on in all student votes is quite confusing. If you haven't done it before, it's so inaccessible. So I want to run motion writing sessions so that it's something that all students will be able to be a part of. And then during actual all student votes weeks, I want to run kind of like market fairs so that people who are putting issues forward can speak directly to people and have a platform given to them more accessibly.
For those who don't know, what is the all student vote?
So the all student vote is an opportunity for all students to put forward an issue or issues that they care about, and then for the rest of the student body to vote on it. So what we've seen go through this year is the plant-based unis motion. We saw a statement on Palestine, and we've seen kind of things like campaigning for the national living wage within the SU itself. So it's such an important position to get your voice heard.
Lovely. So that's obviously on number 1. What about number 2 on your manifesto that you're most excited about?
So number 2, I think that's kind of what I was trying to break it up into earlier. So number 2, we'll be working with other students' unions to try and get the national voice sorted more.
Excellent. That's really, really exciting. All right, I've got one more question for you. On your first day in office, what drink will you be ordering from Curiosity? And would you have a cake as well, or would no cake?
Well, if it's my first day in office, I think I'd go for a chai latte with a shot of espresso.
Nice.
But that means no cake, because so sweet. So sweet.
Well, lovely. It's been great to see you, and congratulations again. Have fun celebrating this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations once again to Sasha. Now, as we've been mentioning a few times this evening, there is a great atmosphere down on the piazza and Curiosity. And I believe Sophia Skenderis from Raw is there for us. Sophia, why don't you let us know what is happening?
Start countdown.
Okay, but how am I going to do a countdown with the mic in my hand? That's what I was saying earlier. Because should I go like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4?
5 seconds.
Okay.
Starting now. 5, 4, 3, 1.
Hello, and we are in Curiosity reporting a big decision with our interviews. I'm Sophia, I'm from the news, and I have with me Sienna. Would you like to introduce yourself and what role you have played in Big Decision and the SU elections?
Cool, thank you so much. First up, hi, my name is Sienna. I'm a third year history student, and I've been working as a democracy assistant with the SU for the past 3 years. So ever since first year, every spring, I've been wearing this lovely green t-shirt and been representing your voices, yeah.
And so what has the last week been like for you, particularly with this new drive? For anyone who's not been on campus or hasn't known, we've had this big drive to get everyone to vote with the kind of hot drinks and the Mentos.
Oh my gosh, it's been crazy. Like, you don't know, like in first year, there was, I wouldn't say there wasn't many free incentives, but this year we've got so many incentives like the Mentos and the free coffees and lattes at Curiositea.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing to see so much support shown out from the Warwick community. And it's been amazing to see sort of engagement at voting booths. People, although like they come for the Mentos, they also come for a little chat. They really want to vibe as well. And it's so lovely to see everyone again every spring.
And why do you think it's so important for all the students to participate in the election?
Essentially, we only get one chance every year to really have a direct say in what happens at the student union. And these elections and what we vote in essentially votes in who represents us and who our voices are. And I know you're going to hear this quite a lot, but it really does give your voice to the student community. And I'm sorry, that phrase must be used a lot.
No, I mean, what do you think is like the most important issue from your perspective when it comes to the SU elections at Warwick?
Actually, I would say personally it's the Society's Federation fee. As a president of the Warwick Bubble Tea Society, it's been so hard and expensive to see sort of our members trying to afford events, and with that £20 society's fee, it's kind of giving that first initial barriers to students to really sort of have fun and engage with societies on campus. And so I would really hope that in the future that it will be lowered down, or just there would be no fee, just so that all students could really enjoy societies on campus and really enjoy making new friends.
And of course, there are so many roles when it comes to the SU elections, and people sort of, I have people coming across me on campus saying, why are there so many roles? Can't we just have one president? Why do you think it's so important to have different people doing different things?
Oh gosh, it's so important. There's so many different aspects when it comes to the student community. Can we just count sports alone? No, sports leads into democracy. It leads in, there's postgrads who are doing sports, there's societies and sports, there's a fine line between that. There's just so many overlapping roles and so many overlapping sectors within the Warwick community. And it's clear that we need representation in all those areas, which is why we've got so many roles on offer, and I'm really happy for it.
So you mentioned you've been doing this for many years now. So
Too many years.
But, I've heard from a lot of students on campus, we have these elections every year. People come out, they say we're going to lower the price of the buses, we're going to do this, but nothing ever happens. Have you seen real change over these years when it comes to the SU and then the leadership?
I have actually, particularly with the VP of Socks this year. I think they lowered the Socks Federation fee from £23 to £20, which is, I know it sounds like £3 isn't necessarily a big difference, but to so many students, that's £3 can save you a lot in the long run.
It can buy you a bubble tea.
It can buy you a bubble tea as well. It can buy you a Pret as well.
Yeah.
And so just saving money at every single cost, or saving money at every single corner that we can find, I feel like, yes, you have done good in that. And also they've recognised sort of, can I mention another one if we've got time? Yeah, which is, I believe the welfare did a breakfast club campaign that went amazingly. I've been a few times. The fact that I'm from Leamington Spa and it's so hard having to sort of eat my breakfast on the bus, and having a sort of place that I could go to have lunch, to have breakfast, like cereal, and having a regular space, really sort of keeps me calm and collected and really gets my day off to a good start.
And one of the other major policy changes that we've seen on campus is the period products in all the bathrooms. This has been highlighted by a lot of students. Do you think we will see more of these progressive movements over the next year with the new leadership?
I think we do, yeah. As long as you guys keep on voting and as long as we keep on voicing our opinions, we'll definitely see a lot more free products, or at least a lot more aspects or welfare aspects to be met.
And just one final question. Of course, this year we've seen over 5,000 people vote.
I know, 5,533. I've literally
5,533 people voted this year.
Literally, for my first year, it was only 4,000. And my manager, Yaz, he was like, come on, guys, we could do it. One more vote. And so to find out we've got over 5.5K is such an amazing achievement.
And, do you think next year we can get that number even higher and we can get people's kind of interaction with the SU like increasing?
Oh, definitely. Honestly, I'm placing my bets on hopefully 6K next year. As long as we keep those incentives going, as long as the representation keeps going, I think we'll be on to a good set. Hopefully 6.5K, but I don't.
6.5K.
Yeah.
Well, you've heard it here first. 6.5K votes for the next year's SU elections, which will happen around this point in time next year. And of course, just one final thing, which is the SU elections. They happen at the end of term 2, but the SU officers don't kick in until like the beginning of the next academic year. Why do you think this is the integral time of the year to do the elections rather than say at the end of the third term?
Actually, you know what? Me and my fellow DAs were actually discussing this, but we were thinking term 3, everyone had exams between sort of term 3, week 4 to week 7, so everyone's going to be probably really focused around that time. And term 2, I think probably most of the essays and assignments are like finished around now, so hopefully we're looking for good weather around this time of year. We're looking for hopefully students with less assignments, and yeah, it's good timing. I mean, spring weather's coming. Spring is the time for new starts. Yeah.
So we've just had a great interview, and of course now we're going to head back to the main kind of big decision results that are coming out. Of course, at the end of the evening we will find out who is our next president, so keep tuning in to find out. And that is our interview done.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sophia, for bringing us that update from Curiosity. Now let's get on with announcing some more of your full-time officers this evening. Up next is Vice President for Sports, and I'm delighted to be joined on the sofa by current VP Emma Birch. Emma, how are you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Now, you've been in this role for 2 years.
Yes.
What have you really enjoyed about being VP for Sports?
Oh, honestly, it's mainly just like the people. The people are absolutely great. So working with so many great students, so many great execs has been just so good this year. Implementing actually when you actually can make that change that you want to make, and when you can do the projects that you want to do, it's just really rewarding. So it's been really good.
So you get to work with lots of different sports club execs themselves, but also with Warwick Sport as well.
Yeah, sometimes that can be challenging, but I feel like we've really fostered like a very good relationship in the last 2 years. So I think it's something that hopefully will continue on as well.
Indeed. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you've been doing in the role? No, working with Warwick Sport and the Sports Federation fee has been one thing this year as well.
Yeah, so I think the past 2 years my focus was very much like on inclusion at first. So I've done quite a lot of things with like transgender inclusion in sort of bigger picture with books as well, and also at the university. Very big project this year was first of all Sports for All Fund, so just making sport more accessible for everyone at Warwick, and also obviously bringing that sports fed and on campus and off campus fee down 25%, which would be in term 2 and term 3. So yeah, that's something that I'm quite proud of.
Yeah, lots of good stuff going on with sport at Warwick. Now, you've been through the whole big decision process twice. How are you feeling at this point last year, sitting on the sofa being interviewed as the next VP for Sports for this year?
I was shocked. It was like very tough last year. Like sports was really highly contested, and I think we got the highest turnout last year for sports. So there was a lot of campaigning going on everywhere. There was 3 of us that were very actively campaigning. So I was very happy but very shocked. Yeah.
Indeed, and obviously we've had Varsity a few weeks ago as well. Yeah. What did you make of that? That was quite exciting for us at least to cover. What was it like for you?
Yeah, no, Varsity was great this year. I felt like it was a big step up from the year before. It's always tricky, as I always say. Varsity is always probably the most tricky part of the role being VP Sports. But it was good. We managed to get obviously some performances there this year with cheerleading and some dance as well. So it was always, when it happens and it all goes smoothly, it's always really rewarding. So it's nice.
Yeah, we definitely had a great time watching Varsity this year. Now, we're a few moments away from announcing who the next VP for Sports is going to be. Do you have any advice for the incoming Vice President for Sports?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like there's going to be a lot of handovers, to be honest. There's going to be a lot of chats. Honestly, I think a big part of the job, obviously, with VP Sports and VP Socks, you're very centred, you're very front-facing, but I think it's just about make sure you stick by what you believe in, and if not, you unfortunately cannot please everyone, and it's just a thing you have to accept. But just sticking by being yourself and sticking by what you believe in, I think is the best piece of advice I'd give.
Very, very good. Now, I think we're all excited to find out who the next VP for Sports is going to be, and I'm sure you are too, Emma. So please do head up to the podium with Naomi for the announcement.
Thank you, James. As Emma has mentioned, The Sports VP is the public face of sport on campus, working with sports clubs and their members to encourage students to take up sport and help them during professional competitions. They also promote physical and mental well-being and lobby the university to make sport more inclusive and accessible to all. So you've got the magic paper there, Emma. Would you like to reveal?
Can I do a tiny speech beforehand?
Of course
Is
you
that
can.
cool? Thank you so much. Okay, yeah, I just want to say that obviously with this, it's been quite a difficult election this year, I think. So I just want to say both of the candidates that ran were absolutely outstanding. And with either of them, they're both absolutely great people, produce really amazing manifestos, and they've also excelled in their current exec roles and in their sports as well. So they're both very, very good candidates. So I was very happy this year to have just knowing that my successor was going to be absolutely brilliant either way. Okay, so the winner and the next VP Sports is Louis Gosling.
This is quite unexpected. I've got nothing prepped at all. I just kind of want to stress that sports has been the most important part of my student life since arriving here 2.5 years ago now. I owe so much to both my 2 years within fencing, where I've acted as captain 1 year and president the next, and also 3 years with the university's rugby club as well, which saw me through first year in particular. I've got so much love for student sport and so much belief that it can be such a positive force for good on campus, and I'm just so excited to take on this role at its helm and just try and make it everything that it can be going forwards. Big thank yous go to the fencing club and the entire exec that supported me through that role this year. The rugby club for their support throughout this entire process. Big thank you to Emma and Sports Forum as well for their support in those roles this year. Emma's been a fantastic sports officer. Big shoes to fill. And then also my campaign team, and in particular Rebecca, for the support throughout with all of that. So yeah, just thank you.
Congratulations, the next VP for Sports at Warwick. You can see how much it means to you. How do you feel about winning?
Slightly in shock. It's not really settled in, to be honest. But yeah, just delighted.
Very good. How have you found campaigning this week, being out on campus and being able to talk to people?
I've done surprisingly little, to be honest. As I say, I wasn't expecting to win this. But no, I mean, it's. I think the real campaign for me has been the engagement I've done with clubs over the past year as chair of forum and as president and all of that. And it's been fantastic to engage with clubs in that way. As I say, I've got so much love for student sport and its potential here. I think it massively overperforms the resources it gets, and just trying to maintain that would be superb. And yeah, just really excited to continue working with sports clubs in such a positive way.
So, I mean, I can see the excitement of being able to continue to work with sports clubs for another year. What are you looking to do as VP for Sports next year?
Just represent their interests really strongly. There's a lot of change going on with sport at the moment, particularly with regards to Warwick sport. And there's a really big potential for really positive change in the sporting environment. So make sure that clubs are represented well in that. Work constructively with clubs and the SU, which I'll now be part of, and Warwick Sport. We've got the partnership, and yeah, just continue making sure that sport remains such a positive part of everyone's lives on campus as it has been for me.
Because it's been such an important part of my time here at Warwick as well. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about what sport has meant to you at university?
Well, so I mean, I injured I tore a ligament at my knee 2 weeks before I came to campus in first year, and was unable to play as a result. And sports clubs immediately found me a bit of a home to sort of belong to in that year. The rugby club became a bit of a home away from home. And then more recently, I've re-entered that sort of competitive environment, and fencing's just been the most wonderful thing. And being president of the club this year has been the single best thing I've ever done. And I've got so many just wonderful memories that I take immense pride in. And so just another year of that would be fantastic.
Yeah, really lovely to hear. And again, as you say, another year of memories of sport at Warwick. Now, I've got one final question for you, before we can go off and celebrate with your campaign team. When it gets your first day here and you come into the office, how are you going to decorate your desk?
How am I going to decorate my desk? Jesus, you're skipping about 10 dozen steps. I don't know.
Any pictures of fencing?
I'm sure. I'm sure there'll be a couple. Max Pikes had some particularly interesting things adorning his desk this year. I might have to follow along his example. Those proud footsteps. Watch this space.
Yeah, well, I think we might have to ask him a little bit more about that later. But Louis, thank you very much for joining me on the sofa. Congratulations. Thank you. Now, Naomi, back to you.
Lovely. Congratulations again, Louis. Now, I think it's time to move on to announcing the next Vice President, which will be the Vice President for Societies. We're getting through it. We are getting ever closer to the all-important President announcement. Current Vice President Max Pike, looking dapper in a suit, is going to tell us a little bit about what it means to be a VP for Societies.
You've dressed up for the occasion, Max, haven't you?
Well, yes. I'm gonna be honest. I was at a conference during the day and I just forgot a spare pair of clothes. But I don't know. I don't regret it.
Really elevating the big discussion stream this evening. So thank you very much for joining me on the sofa.
No problem.
Now, this time last year, you were here in the exact same position, being elected as VP for Societies. How does it feel to be back this year?
Honestly, it feels like half the time has passed. It's, I remember hiding right round that corner, sort of waiting for the results, still texting people, and it was nerve-wracking. I still can't quite remember what I said in that speech. I was so energetic and excited. I sort of just couldn't remember, and I then went to this board interview, and I can't remember what I said my plans were afterwards, but. It's still a bit of a blur, but I was just so excited. It's just a fantastic opportunity. I'm very happy.
Yeah, and you've been, obviously, as Vice President for Societies this year, been working with lots of different societies on campus. What has been the best part of your role this year?
Oh, that's a big question. I think I've for when introducing the candidate later, I've prepared a little bit in the speech. I don't want to spoil too much, but honestly, my favourite is has been getting to know the students and just being constantly surprised by what they managed to achieve. Also in this job, part of my role is to try and empower students to make change and try and make sure that events and things they're planning can work as smoothly as possible and support them in doing that. But I'm constantly surprised about things they do. But yeah, no, it's fantastic. But yeah, students.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you were motivated to run for VP for Societies last year. Why do you think societies have such a great impact on campus, and why so many people are involved in them?
I think what the most amazing thing about societies is just about how welcoming they are. My experience with societies was when I first came to uni. I was sort of just trying to find my tribe, find my community where I fit in the most, and I found just there's so many welcoming societies. They make it such a priority to be part of that welcome experience. There's obviously loads of other things that happen on campus as well, which are run by the welcome team or various different spaces across the university. But societies, they're so fundamental. Just that finding yourself, and even if you don't find the right society straight away, there's 270 of them, and that's just SU affiliated ones. There's a bunch of unaffiliated ones too. Yeah, they're just so welcoming.
Yeah, I mean, that again, this experience that I found with societies, sports and societies on campus have been so good. Now, just before you head up to the podium to announce the next VP for Societies, have you got a piece of advice for the incoming officer?
I think my main piece of advice for the incoming officer is sort of do enjoy there's a long time before you actually start the role. You don't start the role until 1st of August. You do a bit of induction stuff in July, but sort of enjoy that time as a student. Still feel open to listening to students and ideas they might have. Whilst you make a manifesto, and people will hold you to that. Be open to more ideas to add on to that manifesto. It's a live document, if that makes sense. You can still come up with ideas in the next 6 months. You don't have to, just do your manifesto pledges. You can do so much more, and they'll learn more about the role over the next 5 months just by chatting to me and various different SU staff, and just take on the wealth of knowledge that's available to them, and just be open to ideas, open to learn. So that's all the advice I'd give.
Yeah, some very wise words. Now, Max, I think it is time to head up to the podium, and let's find out who the next VP for Societies will be. So go on, join Naomi.
As Max has mentioned, the VP for Societies will be responsible for supporting and guiding the hundreds of societies here at Warwick, helping society execs with decision-making, budgets and training, and helping to develop and promote their events. They will also be responsible for the running of the Societies Fair and helping to ensure that societies remain a focal point of the student experience. Now, I've got the card there for you, but it looks like you've got a little speech, so I will hand the microphone over to you. Take it away.
Yeah, I prepared a little speech. I'm not amazing at public speaking, so I sort of just prepare these little things. But wow, I can't believe this has come around so quickly. I remember back, a year ago when I was running last year, hiding right around that corner for my name to be read out. An absolutely shockingly embarrassing interview after. So those victors doing interviews tonight, don't worry, no one will remember. This role is a toughie. This job is known for emails, meetings, mostly emails, like a lot of emails. It's stressful, it will try you, but it's also amazing. It's one where you're never going to struggle to find work to do. There are always things to improve, some harder, some easier, but always you're working to make a difference for students. One day, you might be running up to Westwood to deliver a talk to foundation students, then suddenly be running back to the SU to meet with an exec. Then you might frantically try to apply to some email emergencies before you present a paper to some committee or other. You get to drive new initiatives that will continue when you're gone and get to make a lasting impact on how the uni sees students. But the best part about this job is the students. You're constantly working to ensure that students' aims and events can happen and empower them to make a change and impact. I'm constantly dumbfounded by what students can achieve, and there's rarely a dull moment. Last night, I was at an AGM, a lightsaber duel broke out, and we all went to Roots in suits. To whoever takes on this role, it will challenge you, but it might be the most rewarding thing you ever do. It certainly has been for me. Without further ado, your next Vice President for Societies for the 2024-2025 academic year is Joe Stanley. Thank you, Joe.
Give a speech? Right. Okay, that was slick. Hi. Yeah. Thank you. It's great. It's great to have this position. Yeah. I've been campaigning all week, working really hard, and yeah, it's a great position to be in. I'd love to help the Sox. I'd like to make things better in the society situation, and yeah. I should probably say thank you to everyone. I should probably say thank you to my team. I can remember Rohan, Steve, Baran, Elliot. Yeah, I'd like to thank Oscar for the advice. I'd like to thank a number of others in the Sox forum as well. Ben, Max as well has given me some hints on policies and things like that. Yeah, just thank you to everyone. I'm sorry if I've forgotten anyone. I will remember. Just just off the fly right now, but yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Well, congratulations, Joe. It's been a long few weeks leading up to this moment. How are you feeling?
Great. Yeah, I'm delighted with the result. I mean, yeah, I'm campaigning hard, and yeah.
I bet you're feeling a bit gobsmacked, you know?
Yeah.
How did it feel when it was read out to you?
Yeah, relieved and happy and delighted.
Excellent.
Yeah, yeah, no, I was slightly pessimistic, I suppose, and I was thinking, oh, it's not going to be me, but you know. Yeah.
So tell me about what you've been up to this past week. What have you been doing in your campaigns? Have you been doing any TikTok trends?
I tried a little bit of Instagram, but I was like, well, maybe that'll put people off if it's too much. But yeah, I've tried Instagram pages. I've posted around a lot, almost like every hall, every lecture, everywhere. Canvassing, group chats, speaking to people I know, just getting my name out there.
Busy,
seeing
busy,
people.
busy.
Yeah, very busy, very busy.
And how have you found the general atmosphere? Do you think it's been really solid?
Yeah, it's been lovely. Yeah, it's great sort of almost festival of campaigning, especially today, like the music and all that. It was, it was good.
It must be nice to meet lots of different types of students. Have you got to meet lots of people?
Yeah. I've met all sorts. I've been to many societies. I've seen loads of people. Many groups. Yeah.
What societies have you been involved in at your time at Warwick?
So Polsoc I've been to PG Society. Recently went to Fencing Society.
Oh, you'll be excited to work with the sports VP then.
Yeah. Been to quite a few. Yeah.
That's really lovely. So, what part of the role are you most excited to dive into?
Getting more student involvement, getting more promotion, just making people more aware of the societies out there, getting more people involved. I want to enhance the society experience and make it better.
Have you got concrete plans, or are you just going to see what happens?
Things in my manifesto I hope to introduce, but we'll have to see the politics and all that. But Sox Fair, I've got some ideas, but we'll see.
Can we get a sneak preview?
We'll have to see.
We'll keep it on the down low for now. Keep it on the down low.
Yeah.
All right, now I know you said that you haven't been doing any TikTok trends, but I have got one question for you.
Yeah.
What karaoke song would you choose to sing to celebrate tonight?
Has to be Angels,
Angels,
That's a
Robbie
classic,
Williams.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, especially in my undergrad days.
Well, thank you very much, Joe. It's been lovely to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Congratulations, Joe. I think Angels would be quite a popular choice down on the piazza this evening. Now, it is time to move on to our next VP for Education, who will assume the role next year. And who better to tell us about the role than Holly Roth, who is joined by Naomi now.
How are you doing today?
Yeah, great. It's a great atmosphere at the moment on campus. I'm really excited.
Been enjoying the campaigning?
Yeah, it's so fun. I'm glad I'm not involved this year.
I was going to say, is it bringing back memories?
Yeah. I was really ill last year, so my team did amazingly. But
oh, wow.
Yeah.
At least it's been fairly warm here on campus.
Yeah, I think it was raining last year. It was awful.
So can you tell us a bit more about what you do here at the SU in your own words?
Yep, so a lot of my role is representing student voice at the university. So I go to a lot of meetings and I'm asked basically, what do the students think? Which is sometimes really hard to answer, but I make sure I get loads of opinions from our SSLC structures, our department reps and our faculty reps. So I also am involved with all of the academic representation we have on campus as well.
I must say, it must be very, very difficult to say there's 20,000 plus students and you have to be the one who is that spokesperson.
Yeah, luckily I have the support of our PG officer as well. And then, as I said, all of the wonderful course reps that talk to me and tell me what's going on in their departments.
That's lovely. What are you most proud of having achieved so far in your time in the role?
I think for me, I've been doing a lot of work on accessibility at Warwick, specifically for disabled students. As a disabled student myself, that was always my #1 priority, was accessibility. So I've been working a lot with some people at the university on something called a disability code of practice, which is a set of kind of guidance for departments on how to accommodate students with disabilities and best practice, I guess.
And have you seen any changes implemented because of that?
Yeah, so we're starting a training program to train departments on this. There's a lot of more awareness on this as well. So it's always brought up a lot of the time. And I actually get people from the university contacting me about disability issues as well because they know me as that person.
Lovely. And presumably you'll be working with the new disabled students officers as well, the current ones.
Yeah. I've been working a lot with MADS, the current one. And I hope whoever wins will continue this work.
Lovely. And you've got a couple more months to go. What would you like to get done in that time?
I think just wrapping up a lot of the work I've been doing so far, continuing championing our academic rep system. There's some work we've been doing around restructuring some of our academic rep systems, so good to see some of that.
Excellent. Have you got any advice for the incoming officer?
Just continue to listen to students, continue to closing the feedback loop between our course reps all the way up so that we can represent students the best we can.
Any tips on how to do that?
I've done a newsletter this year, so hopefully they can continue the newsletter. That was really great. We got a lot of feedback on that.
Lovely. Do you find that people open it, people read it, people circulate it?
Yeah, I get lots of feedback on it.
That's great. That's really exciting. So obviously it is exam season coming up.
Yeah.
Have you got any de-stress tips for students as we move up to term 3?
Yeah, just make sure you take lots of breaks. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't stress yourself out too much. Make sure you're, as I said, taking breaks, and actually make sure you plan your revision in advance as well if you can, and make sure you know what your schedule is ahead of time.
Yeah, and make full use of the campus space, of course.
Yeah,
Have
there's
you got
so
a
much.
favourite study space on campus?
Oh, I used to really like the library. I was a big library girl. I liked the fact it was 24 hours, so I could go any time of the day.
Did you have a favourite floor? I feel like there's a hierarchy with the floors.
I quite like this quiet spaces, so 4 quiet bits of the library.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great to speak to you, and thank you so much for joining us here. If you head up to the podium, you can make the announcement.
Yeah.
So, just to summarise what we've heard, the VP for Education will work to ensure that students' academic experience is as good as possible, ensuring that all marginalised and mature students receive equal academic opportunities. They'll work through the academic rep system to achieve the best possible learning experience for students and raise students' academic issues at the highest levels of the university. Now, I think it's time to announce who the winner is. Here is a piece of paper.
Yeah, almost did this by accident earlier, but the winner is Muniba Amjad.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for voting me. I'm very happy to win and to be your next VP for Education. I would absolutely love to continue the work that Hall has been doing over the past year, and I'm very excited to be working in the SU.
Well, let me be the first to say congratulations. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling quite good. It's quite a relief to be over with the week and to hear the results.
Must be quite a big shock as well when you hear it read out and it's like, oh wow, this is real.
Yeah, it was yeah.
So you've obviously got a couple of months before you properly get started. What are you going to be doing to prepare for the role?
So I've already been talking to Hall a little bit about what they've done this year, and I think I'll probably engage in more conversations to see what further work I can take on that they've started off, or anything that I can continue on. And I think in general just get to know what the role is and what I'd be expected to do, and
I mean, a big part of what Hull's campaign is a lot about work for disabled students. Have you got any particular ideas for how you want to involve that?
Yeah, absolutely. So accessibility is one of my key priorities, both on my manifesto and something I definitely want to take forward into the role. So I definitely want to improve things in terms of accessibility, in terms of students getting support for mitigating circumstances and requesting extensions, and ensuring that all study spaces and teaching rooms are accessible.
And how are you going to work to make sure you represent the voices of all students?
So I think for all students, something I would definitely plan to do is ensure that self-certs are kept in, because I think that's something that benefits everyone, because everyone has that off day. Also continuing with things like keeping a lecture capture, and just generally working to make sure all students feel represented, as well as working with the course reps to ensure that too.
Lovely. So obviously inclusivity is a big part of your manifesto. Is there anything else that you're really passionate about and excited to work on?
Inclusivity is definitely a big one. I think also creating fair opportunities to all and improving everyone's education experience, but as well as allowing them to engage with other areas of the uni, like societies and sports, effectively.
And which university services will your work highlight? Like, who will you work with best to make sure that your role goes well?
Okay, I think there'll be a range of services that I'd work with. So some of my ideas will involve working with like the timetabling team. I think I'd also work with well-being, and particularly like the disability team, to ensure students are getting adequate support for their education experience.
Lovely, that's really exciting. So obviously Hull's favourite study space was the library. What about you? Where's your favourite place to study on campus?
I think I would also say the library. Sometimes I go to the Oculus, but I think mainly the library as well.
The library. And how would you work to preserve our study spaces here on campus?
I think one main thing I plan to do is work with departments and ensure that departments can provide as much study space as possible. I know some departments have more space than others. Obviously, the FAB has a lot of space as well. And yeah, I think just mainly ensuring that there is enough space to study as well.
Lovely. So have you got any advice for stressed students due to the upcoming exam season?
Well, I think it's mainly a matter of just keeping on top of things generally, and just, I think definitely something that's important is making sure you're looking after yourself, you're eating well, you're sleeping well. I would definitely not recommend doing an all-nighter before the exam because you will just not have the energy. And
Although you could do it in the library, it is 24/7.
Yeah, but yeah, I think getting a good sleep and eating well is definitely important for your exams. So I guess balancing everything while also keeping your studies up.
That's lovely. And my final question to you is on the theme of well-being. What are you going to be doing to be relaxing over this next coming weekend?
Well, yeah, I think I'm just going to get a nice sleep today, sleep in for tomorrow.
Sleep sounds good.
Yeah.
Sleep sounds good. Well, thank you so much. It's been lovely to see you, and congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
Back to you, James.
Congratulations once again to Maniba. Now, we're coming towards the end of the evening for the Big Decision 2024. It is almost time to announce who the next Warwick SU president is going to be. But first, we are going to head back down to see what's going on in Curiosity before the biggest announcement of the night.
And I'll count you down. Count him down. Now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay. Hello and welcome back to our Curiosity interviews. We have with us a lot of kind of democracy officers, and we're doing this interview right before the SU president gets announced. So we're going to find out soon whether it was Anea, Marie, Molly or Hamza who has won the presidential kind of election. But right now we have everyone in the room with us, and would everyone just like to go across kind of like the rows and just introduce yourself and tell us why did you kind of like sign up for this position?
I'm Emily. I'm a democracy assistant in the student union. I signed up for this position because I think it's a really exciting chance to get involved with the SU processes and getting your voice heard in the student union more broadly.
Hi everyone, my name is Anirudh. I'm master's student in business analytics and I'm a democracy assistant at the student union. So it's a kind of fun position, and there should be much democracy maintained in the campus. So yeah, I'm just liking it.
Hi everyone, my name is Renee and I'm a third year sociology student and I've been a DA for 3 years. It's been great doing this, meeting cool friends and meeting good people, and just helping out the democratic processes and stuff. It's been great.
Hello, I'm Ellie. I'm a democracy assistant. I'm a third year student. I'd say one of the main reasons why I took the responsibility this year is they don't like being called bosses. I'd say my supervisors. It was great to work with them. That's one of the reasons why I returned to this job.
Hi, I'm Ollie. I'm a second year politics student and I'm a membership assistant, which is slightly different, but we've for this week become democracy assistants. I applied for the job just to get more involved in the SU and also get paid for it at the same time, which is better than not getting paid for it. So yeah, but it's been amazing. As we said, the supervisors are amazing, the SU is brilliant, and I'm really passionate about it, and it's great to be involved at this level, and I think we've had a really good week, and I'm sure all of us are really proud that we've got over 5,000 votes, so yeah.
So you mentioned that you've done this job for like 3 years?
Yes.
And of course this year we've seen 5,531 voters, so that's a massive turnout. How do you think the difference has been in kind of like the week leading up to the election this year versus the last 2 years?
I think when you've been doing it for 3 years, you're kind of just like, it's all or nothing. You like you just kind of have no shame, and I think the returning days can say the same. You kind of just go into it wanting to just do it for our supervisors, as we said. Huge shout out to Yaz, Celine, Daniel, Sarah, James, like they've been great. So just seeing the fruit of our labor this entire week and being able to enjoy it, it's been special.
And I mean, you also have been doing this for many, many years. You know, how is the kind of the difference been with this whole kind of token system and the coffees? How's that been relative to other years?
So as compared to other years, this year is insanely better. We got a lot of votes. The reason is that we introduced the new scheme of bringing the coffees to the students, and of course the Mentos boxes, you know that. So it was quite good, and yeah, the token system we have is just like bringing a lot of queues outside this Curiosity, and the students are very excited. Not just about the voting, but it's just like they are getting the free stuff out of us, and it was pretty good.
And Emily, like, why, you know, what does the president do? Why should we be voting for the president? You know, an everyday Warwick student, why is it relevant to their lives?
I think the SU is brilliant as an organisation at bringing people's voices together, and the president's role really embodies that and trying to gather people's views, understand where people are coming from, and it's topical. It's something that changes every day. Our views are constantly changing, the politics around us is constantly changing, so it's important that you vote for someone that you think is going to embody your views the best and represent students more broadly and in the best way possible.
And of course, coming over here, you know, why, you know, what does the president do for societies? You know, you mentioned societies. What is the president's role when it comes to societies?
Well, I mean, overall, the SU is a very important body, because the idea of having a student body that represents, you know, in such very corporatized entities is very important, and the president is the main responsible person who's representing student voice. So in that aspect of it, the fact that, you know, it's very important to have a president who knows what the students want, what they ask. In that sense, it's very important to have a considerate and respectful president, I'd say.
And that sadly comes to the end of our interview because the elections are coming out soon. It's been brilliant having all of you on. Thank you so much for coming on. And we are now moving back to find out who is our president. This is so exciting. So we will be shooting back right now.
You're watching Raw's coverage of this year's Student Union elections, otherwise known as the Big Decision. After days of intense campaigning and questions, we have arrived at the announcement for your next Student Union president. Current President Anna Taylor is here to tell us a little bit more about the role and what this year's winner can expect when they arrive in the position.
Anna, thank you very much for joining me here on the sofa. What were your emotions at this point last year after being elected president?
Oh, it was a trembling leaf. I had no clue what was going on. So yeah, I can only imagine how the candidates feel at the moment. But it's been a fantastic week of campaigning, so they all deserve it.
Yeah. What have been some of the issues that you've been working on over the course of the year as SU president?
I mean, one of the joys of the job of president specifically is you have such a breadth of things that you end up working on. So quite literally, it could be anything from well-being and looking at their new strategy to going and running a bus survey, for example. So really, it's anything and everything. The buck kind of ends up stopping with you.
And I presume in that role you've been working with all of the other different full-time officers and part-time officers as well to be able to get things done for students.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really depends what you're working on. But there's some brilliant room for collaboration and for making sure that as a team you can really advance student interests. So yeah, it's lovely to be able to sit down with each other and actually make sure that in your respective areas we're really pushing and having a collaborative and kind of cohesive effort.
And you've got one more term left as president. What can students expect in the final term of the year?
I mean, we know we're running out of time now, so it's all pedal to the metal. Yeah, we're going to be looking at continuing some of our cost of living work, continuing on with kind of stuff around free breakfast, but making sure that we're trying to bring some proper proposals for next year so that students can continue to benefit from the cost of living work that we do so far. So, yeah.
And lots of things that the next officers are able to pick up and take on as well. And just one more question before we find out who the next SU president is going to be. What would your one piece of advice to your successor be?
I think listen and learn. It's important to go in with the vision, but it's also important to recognise where that vision might have to change. Ultimately, we are responsible for a community of 29,000 people, and the best way that you can know that you're doing the best thing for them is by listening. So, yeah.
Some wise words. Now I think it's time for you to head up to the podium, Anna. Thank you very much for joining me on the sofa, and it's time for that all-important announcement.
As the main face of the SU, your next president will be responsible for promoting your interests to external bodies, acting as your main representative to the university, and sitting on the top university bodies to deliver your best student experience possible. Anna, would you like to join me up here? Now I've got the all-important result just waiting for you here, but feel free to say that whenever you're ready. Cool.
Okay. I think it's been said by other officers already, but it genuinely is really unbelievable that we're at the point of the year where we have our new officer team coming in. It has been so amazing to see the phenomenal campaigns run by candidates across all positions this week, but it's been particularly exciting for me to see such impressive campaigns by all of the candidates running for president. Knowing the complexities of this job for myself, it can be nerve-wracking to think of the moment that you'll pass it on to somebody else and only be able to hope that they take care of it. Being the president of the Students' Union is a position that comes with a lot of responsibility, as well as a lot of power to make real change. You lead a team of student officers with more access to university governance and decision-making than any other group of students, and fight for student interests across the entire breadth of student experience at Warwick. I felt truly privileged to hold this position, not many get to, and with over 28,000 students, all with varying experiences, identities, and aspirations, relying on you to fight their corner, it's not a position you can afford to take lightly. This role is challenging. It doesn't take heed of things like working hours, personal opinions, the realms of what is possible and what is impossible, but it's also the most rewarding thing that I've ever done. Which brings me to what we've all been waiting for. Who is your next president? So it's my privilege and my pleasure to present the next president of Warwick Students' Union, Anaya Nihal.
Thank you, everyone. I have not prepared a speech, but I will just say thank you to every single person who's voted for me, and thank you for putting your trust in me. I promise I'll stand by and I'll honor that for this term, and I'm absolutely just overwhelmed and so excited sort of begin my next journey and my next step in the SU. Thank you to every voter. Thank you for everyone who got involved with the campaign, be it whichever campaign team you were on. It was amazing to see that energy and see that engagement with the SU, because that's, I think, the biggest thing that we've seen this time. The turnout was incredible. The teams have worked so hard. Thank you to my team. You got me here. And above all, I'll just say thanks to my mom, because wouldn't be here without you. So yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Come and join us on the sofa.
Gladly.
Congratulations. Thank you. Next president of Warwick SU. How do you feel?
Overwhelmed, just really happy with sort of the atmosphere here. You guys have done such an incredible job genuinely covering this. Sorry, just to put this out there. Now I can say it. And just my teams here, I'm so happy to be surrounded by such wonderful people. So yeah, just really happy. And I'm really excited to get started and start work, and Monday's gonna be exciting.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to tell us a little bit more about the campaigning you've been doing this week? I know we've seen you out and about on the piazza.
Yeah, sure. So I've had a wonderful team of students who have sort of helped me. We've been flyering 24/7. Some people have been here as early as 8 a.m. Thank you, Ben. Emma and I have stayed quite late some days. We've gone to sort of every sports club we could find, every society we could reach, and just to tell them what we could do for them, what we could offer, and if they like the idea, that we'd love to vote. Yes.
Yeah. And obviously part of your campaign this week has been your manifesto. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about what you want to achieve as the next president of Warwick SU?
Oh, yes, thank you for saying that. That was very official. All right, so I've got 5 main priorities, which I thought about extensively before I thought about running, really. So the first one would be student democracy. I think so far we've seen with this election how increased engagement actually helps us prosper. It gave us new ideas, gave us new insight into how different student groups think. So I think making work more accessible to every student, especially the average student who's not hyper-political, maybe get involved with us, is the first priority. The second one is cost of living. Obviously, I'm the current lead of the cost of living campaign, and I hope I will continue to be that, and embed a lot of campaigns and programs that we've already started. So Free Breakfast Club, I'd like to make that permanent, and period poverty, things like that, and of course push for the SU to become a real living wage employer, work with the accommodation strategy. There's a lot that's going on that I can continue, essentially. making education accessible to everyone. I've seen a lot of departments roll back self-certifications because COVID's over, but I think the need for self-certifications is still there, still present. Student well-being, the new director has been amazing. I've been working with him very closely over the past couple months. I hope to continue that relationship. And yeah, just sort of all aspects of the student experience. I try and fight for a better one.
Do you want to tell us a little bit more about when you decided to run and why?
Yeah, sure. I decided to run. Well, I thought about running sort of right after I'd won VP Welfare. I was like, this would be nice to do again. Yeah, at that point, no campaigns would be
You just
traumatic.
enjoyed the big decision so much, you wanted to do it again.
It was covered so well. What could I do? But I thought, oh no, it's fine. I don't want to run. I'll go look for a permanent job somewhere. But I think over winter break, I thought about it a lot. I thought about, I love this job. I would love to do it on a bigger scale. I'd love to be sort of the main spokesperson for the union, like Anna is, and she does such an incredible job. And take that forward with sort of RGSU's national bodies and continue lobbying for students. I think that I basically put pen to paper and I wrote down quite a few things, and I was like, yeah, I think I want to do this. I regret not trying.
And one of the things you obviously mentioned in your manifesto is the fact that you are going to be one of the main links between the students and the university, the forefront representative to the university. How are you going to use that position to be able to benefit the wider student community?
That's a great question. Just by being the main spokesperson, by putting our demands forward, by making sure that the university and the SU are in a comfortable enough position with a strong enough relationship to be able to have tough conversations, even if if they mutually benefit them, or if they might cause harm to one party or the other. If it's about the student voice and what students actually need in order to have a great experience at Warwick, I will fight for that in whatever capacity I can.
And I mean, for students, you will perhaps be the first student face that first years meet in Freshers Week. They're all coming in terrified, and there you are. You're going to be in a brilliant and important face representing students. What are you going to do to approach them over your year as president?
Honestly, I think we need to do more on-the-ground stuff. I think we've done quite a few surveys. I'm a big fan of surveys and data. Data pace, I can't shut up about it. But I think getting, especially first years and second years who've just transitioned over, getting their experience, understanding what it was like for them, like on a practical level. So for example, for housing, how difficult it was for them to find it, get on the ground, get their actual opinions and work with it. I think the Better Bus survey has been quite detailed, and that's going to really help with conversation with Stagecoach and National Express going forward as well. So essentially just talking to them, especially international students and cultural societies that are really not as prevalent, not as prominent on campus, reaching out to them proactively instead of waiting for them to come to us would be, I think, a really good way of approaching it.
So I'm sure you're looking forward to being up there in one of the big welcome talks during Freshers Week and on all of the campaigning, your face around campus, as it is at the moment with all of the different pictures of the full-time officers. And obviously you'll be working with them as part of your role as president. How are you going to be working with these other student officers to be able to achieve your aims and the aims of those officers?
Again, now that I'm president-elect, it's a bit, actually have to sort of manage that team and those expectations. I think making sure that the FTO team can, and the PTO team, I was part-time officer too, I know how lovely it can be and how sort of lack of communication can create so many misunderstandings and problems and just create barriers just by not talking about things. So I'd say the number one thing is make sure that there's clear and structured communication and collaboration across each team. And also regular check-ins with the FTO team. I think that our team's been really good with that as well.
It's pretty exciting. I think we've got one last question for you. Yes. So it's your first day. You're coming in.
I remember this question.
Tell us, what are you ordering from Curiosity first? You get a double whammy question because you're president-elect.
Love that question.
What are you ordering? And what's the first decoration you're putting on your desk?
Okay, can I just say I love these questions so much? Thank you, that's a lot less nerve-wracking than the first one. Last year I was like, I'm grateful to have an office this time. Curiosity, the Malteser milkshake, or the Malteser hot chocolate. Honestly, I'm trying to get that on the permanent menu. I'm going to lobby for that internally.
That would be the dream.
Genuinely. And I genuinely have said this to freshers when I did academic inductions. Like, the Malteser hot chocolate, that's the one. And a decoration on my desk. I'd say a picture of the team from this year, because they're the reason I'm here.
I think that's a very, very nice place to end. And I thank you very much for joining us here, and congratulations once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, that is it for another year. You've chosen the student team to head up the Students' Union at the University of Warwick.
We wish your new officer team the best of luck over the next academic year, and we're really looking forward to seeing what they will achieve.
And just before we go, I'd like to thank everybody who's been involved in producing the show this evening. Thank you very much, Naomi, for co-hosting alongside me. Thank you very much to the team from Raw, everybody who's been behind the camera in Curiosity to make everything happen this evening. I'm seeing lots of thumbs up. Thank you very much, everyone. It's in what has been an incredibly busy time for us as a station and us for our degrees as well.
Wait, do those still exist?
We'll find out. Yeah, so thank you very much to them, and thank you very much to the Students' Union Democracy team as well for making everything run smoothly, and we're really grateful for their support. And thank you very much to you for watching this evening as well.
Yeah. Make sure to follow Raw across social media where you can keep up to date with all of our latest content. I know there'll be some pretty cool edits coming out after this, and find out how you can get involved in Raw, because even if you're not a first year, that doesn't mean you don't have to get involved.
Now, the big decision will be back next year. In the meantime, I've been James Lewis.
I've been Naomi Richardson.
And we've really enjoyed your company this evening. Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you.